So you think it's time for your first hire. How do you know? There's a simple test. Can you go for hours at a time without checking your text or your email, and your business will continue to grow? If you can't, it's probably time for your first hire, and that person should be a virtual assistant. If you are part of the few and you can go for hours at a time without checking your text and email, but you're still stretched to the max, then it sounds like you either need a partner or an operations specialist. I created a video on how to know the difference, as well as how to hire. An operations specialist and a partner are very different roles, very different hires. In addition, you can check out my video, Never Make a Mishire Again. I went from firing or losing half of the people I hired to keeping over 90% year over year from this process. All right, so the test again is, can you go for hours at a time without checking your text or email? Right now, you're probably saying, that's impossible, no founder can. If that's you, keep watching, it's possible, and when you figure it out, it will change your life and your business. I understand the thought process of saying, the reason my customers are with me is because I pick up my phone on the first ring every single time, and they get to connect directly with the CEO. I get it. However, the amount of customers that need that kind of treatment is way less than you think. And sooner or later, you're going to have to figure out how to not be reachable to all of your customers, or else you're not going to be able to scale your business. That's the reason you started your business in the first place, was to be an owner, not an employee. If you continue to take all the calls, you're just a glorified employee. Plus, you have to do all of the other day-to-day work yourself. I get that you feel like you have to take every single customer's call. That's how I felt when I first started off. There are going to be customers that demand they speak directly to you, but that's a small segment of your total customer base, or at least should be moving forward. If you continue to take every customer's call and you're the only one, then you just created another job for yourself. But in addition to executing on your job, you now have to handle all of the day-to-day in addition to your most important tasks. The reason you have to be able to go hours at a time without checking your phone and looking at email is because you need to work on your business instead of in your business. While you're working on your business, you need to be in flow. It'll 5x your productivity, and distractions are the number one thing that take you out of flow. Our phones with notifications turned on keep us in a perpetual state of anxiousness. In addition to your phone keeping you in a constant state of anxiety, which is crushing your creativity, UC Berkeley did a study on how long it actually takes to get back to the same flow state you were prior to a distraction. They found that it takes on average 23 and a half minutes. The single change of having 3 90-minute flow sessions where you're uninterrupted to work on your business is going to be the single greatest change you can implement to move your company forward. So how do you do it, and how much does it cost? Based on the region you're hiring in, you're going to be spending between $4 and $12 an hour for a virtual assistant. Now, virtual does not mean an AI-driven assistant. It means a real person that's working remotely on your tasks specifically. So there's 2 ways to go about getting a virtual assistant. One is you can reach out to your network. If you spent time outside the country or have contacts outside of the country, then you can reach out to that network and ask them if there's anyone that fits the profile of who you're looking for. If you don't have contacts outside of the country or haven't been overseas, the other option is to use a company like Doxa, KJ, or Bloom. We've used all 3 to hire dozens of employees, and they're fantastic at finding the exact right person. The one caveat is they're going to charge you about 50% more than if you found the person directly. And the reason for that is that's their business model. That's how they make money. So again, a direct hire is going to cost you between about $4 and $9 an hour. And a hire that you get through one of these agencies is going to cost you between $8 and $12. Either way, you're going to need to employ them on a part-time basis as a minimum. Full-time is preferred because they'll be 100% dedicated to you. Doing that math, it's a minimum investment of $700 a month. That is going to pay dividends as you're able to spend 4.5 hours every day without distractions in flow, 5 times more productive and more creative than you've been able to be up to this point. As I've talked to other business owners, there's 3 main reasons why they haven't outsourced labor overseas. The first is the accent and the language. The second is trust, and the third is competency. So the first concern, the language and the accent. I currently don't source or vet any of my own candidates. My virtual assistant does that for me. And before I meet or interact with any of them, I receive a 2 to 3 minute video where they go through and answer a few questions. This allows me to hear their accent, get a feel for their language abilities, and know if I want to move to the next stage. And oftentimes, for many of our roles, they're not customer facing. They're doing graphic design, they're doing marketing, and so they don't have to have perfect English. However, for the ones picking up the phone and talking directly to our customers, they need to sound like English is their native language. We've had tons of luck in Brazil, Mexico, South Africa, and the Philippines. Something unique about the Philippines, even though it's halfway across the world and their time zone is exactly flipped from ours, 25% of their GDP comes from remote workers that are doing work for people in the United States. That means that they're growing up speaking English, they're majoring in this in school, and then there's an entire ecosystem that's fueling these people that are working odd hours for American companies. Next thing that's difficult to figure out with any new hire is trust. However, just because they're in a different country compared to a different state or a different city doesn't mean I can trust them any more or any less. I set up the same precautions and checks as I would for any hire, whether they're overseas or in my same city. Give them view-only access to your bank account and QuickBooks. Whatever the task is that they need to do, build that trust over it. The last concern generally comes down to competency. For some reason, we have this antiquated false reality in the United States that we believe we have a monopoly on talent. It's just not the case. The people I've worked with overseas have been just as competent, if not more so, than anyone I've worked with in the United States. In addition to being able to work on your business instead of just in it, which is your most important task at this stage in the company, you'll learn the skill to delegate and to lead and manage other people. That pit in your stomach that comes when you have to give hard feedback is going to slowly go away because you're going to be giving that feedback on a daily basis, training somebody up. This is going to give you the skill set and the preparation needed so that as you scale from 5 to 10 to 100 employees, you're going to have the know-how to be able to lead and manage effectively.